Beggars Woodshop. We continue our series on new tools in the woodshop with the bandsaw. We'll set up, fine-tune, and even test this new bandsaw, and hopefully things will be working. And that's coming up right here on the Beggars Woodshop. Come on inside. Our bandsaw arrived this morning. Let's have a look inside. There was no fence, so we'll have to make use of that. I'm going to clean up this mess, read through the manual, and then we can get this thing on the lathe and all set up. Ah, there you are. Well, last night I read through our manual, and I started work today by opening up the garage door, moving out the Shopsmith. I put our weigh tubes on so that we can actually mount the bandsaw onto the Shopsmith, and I prepared the Shopsmith by loosening a couple of Allen screws so we can have everything ready to go. Come on, let's have a look. I want to slide over my headstock to make sure the pieces are properly aligned. Looks like we're a little low. That's okay, this is easy to adjust. Ah, that's better. Now we're going to loosen the piece here to attach to the table. Perfect. I removed the bolt along with the washer from the underside of the table, remembering that when I install the table on the trunnion, the washer goes in between the bolt and the trunnion. Make sure you have the proper orientation when applying. Much better. Because I got this used, buyer beware. One of the pieces was actually bent on the underneath of the trunnion. Good thing I was able to bend it back into shape without breaking it. Alright, let's get this thing level. Using a combination square or level, as well as a wrench, I will make sure the table is level while tightening each bolt. Let's see how close we are. Fortunately, over in this corner, there just happens to be a nut that I can loosen and tighten with a bolt that will allow me to tilt the table a little more to one side or the other, and will always come back to that as my level point. Now that I've got the top level, there's one last thing to check out. There's a lever here on the bottom that will allow me to adjust 5 degrees left or right and has an indicator. We gotta make sure that indicator is directly on 0. If you may or may not be able to tell, our indicator is just slightly off 0. Fortunately, it's easy to adjust with the screws. There. Perfect. Well, it's getting hot out here. I think I'll haul this thing inside and we'll have a look at it that way. That wheel looks like it could spin forever. We don't want that. Better grease this thing up. For more detailed information on how I'm doing my greasing, head over to My Growth Rings here on YouTube. Scott has a great video about how to grease and degrease your bandsaw for the Shopsmith. Much better. Alright, let's move on. Now it's time to add in our blade. After setting the blade, I tension to the correct marker. Gotta be careful not to over-tension. Now that the blade is in place and tensioned, I can check it to the miter gauge. Should be nice and square. Hopefully my miter gauge is too. Now to adjust my cooling blocks to just the correct spot. I've gone ahead and removed the cover over the bearings, and as you can clearly see, this one in the back does not fully touch, and that's okay. If I press just a little bit with the blade, it will hit that back bearing, and that's acceptable. Otherwise, we'd have to go into finer adjustments. The weatherman has promised me a better day. Let's get to work. I have the blade all retensioned. I have everything hooked up to headstock. We're just about ready to go. But before we can go any further, we've got to talk about safety. Read the manuals that come with your power tools. The more you understand and follow the rules and safety guidelines of your tool, the less likely you are to cause personal injury either to yourself or someone else. You're also going to want hearing protection. You don't want to go deaf, not too early or too late. But of course, the greatest safety concern you can take, eye protection. The day these come in handy, you will be thankful. Let's just hope it never does. Alright, let's get started. Well, not too bad. I got some fine-tuning adjustments to do, but that's pretty much how things go with this bandsaw. Alright, that's all I've got for today. Hopefully I will see you next time, right here on the Beggars Woodshop.